Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the lecture of Operation Research. In the last lecture, we have seen a method of solving a linear programming problem in two variables by graphical. Graphical solutions we have seen. These are the some of the examples we have solved in the last lecture. Okay. The process to solve by graphical method is whatever the constraints are given to you, inequality constraints, those inequality constraints should be considered as equation, and first we have to plot those equations, means it is giving us a straight line. We have to plot it on a two-dimensional plane in the first quadrant. After plotting all the constraint inequalities as equations, we have to find out the feasible region. Feasible region means the region which is being satisfied by the corresponding inequality. That is, if the inequality is of the less equal type, we have to consider the region below the line. If it is of greater equal type, we have to consider the region above the line. And in this way, we have to find out the common region satisfied by all the constraint inequalities. Once we find out the common region satisfied by all the inequalities, it is called as the feasible region, and we will find out the corner points of the feasible region, and we will find out the value of the objective function at those points, and whichever the value will give us the optima, whether it is maxima or minima depending upon your objective function. Whichever the point is giving you the optima will be the optimal solution for the given linear programming problem. But we can see very easily that the restriction for the graphical method is we can solve the problems involving only two variables. We cannot use this method for more than two variables. Therefore, the next methods are developed in order to solve the linear programming problem. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to study the basic notions which are required to understand how to solve the linear programming problem with the suitable methods. So, we will start with unit number 1 in today's lecture, and the heading for the topic is convex set and their properties. In today's lecture, we are going to focus on the basic notion as I told you, and the first point we want to discuss under this section is lines and hyperplanes. Lines and hyperplanes. Therefore, the first definition we will study is the equation of line in n-dimensional spaces. Equation of line, or one can say equation of a line segment also. Lines. Can anyone tell me how can I find out the equation of a line? If or what should be the parameters essentially? If suppose only one point is given to you, how many possibilities are there to draw the lines from the given point?
Infinitely many.
Yes, it is infinitely many. Therefore, if I am interested in finding a unique line, what should be the condition imposed on, or what should be one more condition imposed on this?
Direction.
Yes, it is direction, and the direction may be given by any aspect. The direction may be given by a vector which is parallel to a line which is parallel to a given vector, or if a slope is given, or if the inclination of the line is given, or if the second point on the line is given. Okay, whenever 2 points on the line are known to us, we can find out the equation of a line uniquely. Do you know what is the equation of a line joining 2 points? I think we have seen many forms of finding the line segment or line passing through 2 points. 2 point formula it is called. Now, everyone is familiar with this. Actually, those 2 point formula and all we are using up to 3D spaces. Now, here we are interested in finding the equation of a line joining 2 points in an n-dimensional plane. So we are interested totally in RNS spaces. Okay. So let us try to discuss what is the equation of a line. Actually, in differential geometry paper, you have seen this in detail. How to find out the equation of a line, plane, curves, etc. Okay. Therefore, within 2 minutes, I will show you how the equation of a line can be found. Let me draw the sketch. In 3D, I am showing you, and the same can be extended to higher dimensions as well. So this is x, y, and z. Okay. Let there be a point A is given in a three-dimensional space, and one more point say B is also given, and we are interested in finding the equation of a line joining these or passing through these 2 points. We are interested in finding the line passing through these 2 points. As 2 points are given to us, surely the line segment or line passing through the 2 points will be unique. Okay. Now what I am going to do to find out the equation of a line, first let me join those vectors with the origin. Okay. Therefore, what it is called? This is called as a vector A bar. Say OA is called as vector A bar and OB is called as say vector B bar. Now we are interested in finding the equation of a line, means we are interested in finding the coordinates of an arbitrary point on the line. Let me call that arbitrary point B R. Let me join this point with the origin, and correspondingly the vector formed will be called as R bar. Okay. If what we are assuming, the vector OA bar is A bar, OB bar is B bar, that of OR bar is R bar. Vector OR bar is R bar. Okay. Then how can I find out the equation or the vector representation of this AR? Yes. How can I find out AR? Is it OR bar minus OA bar? Vector calculus we have seen in detail in our 12th standard. Therefore, this AR vector can be found by OR minus OA. Correct? No? If you have a difficulty, you can ask me. Similarly, what about AB bar? Is it OB bar minus OA bar? Therefore, can I write this as R bar minus A bar, and similarly here it is B bar minus A bar. So we have found this. But what these two lines are? These two lines are collinear. Correct, na? Are going to lie on the same line. This line segment rather I will call. This AR and AB are going to lie on the same line. And whenever the two line segments are on the same line, we call it as collinear. And this is possible if the two line segments are scalar multiples of one another. The two line segments are scalar multiples of one another. For here I will write the point R is on line AB only if when this is true, R lies on AB only if these two are scalar multiples of one another. That is, AR is lambda times AB. AR is lambda times AB. What about AR bar? AR bar is R bar minus A bar, which is lambda times B bar minus A bar. What this lambda is? Lambda be any scalar. This should be the scalar multiples of one another. No? Now let me find out the coordinates of R bar. What about R bar? R bar is A bar plus lambda B bar minus A bar. Right? Or one can write this as lambda B bar plus 1 minus lambda times A bar. Correct? No? Here we can write lambda B bar minus lambda A bar minus lambda A bar, taking A bar common, it will be 1 minus lambda. Therefore, this R bar is actually the point R on the line AB. Okay, therefore, this R bar is said to be the equation of line. Equation of this is giving me the arbitrary point on the line AB. Therefore, this can be considered as equation. Therefore, in vector form, one can find out the equation of line passing through 2 points with the help of this one. Here, if we restrict the values of lambda between 0 and 1, what will happen if I put lambda is equal to 1? If I put lambda is equals to 1, whether R bar is giving me B bar, and if I put lambda is equal to 0, R bar is giving me A bar. Correct, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, once if lambda is equal to 1, r bar is b bar, means this is the one endpoint. If lambda is 0, then it is a bar, means this is the another endpoint. Therefore, if we restrict the value of lambda between 0 to 1, then it will give us the line segment. For lambda equals to 1 and 0 respectively, it is giving us the end points of the given line segment. We have seen this in detail in differential geometry. Therefore, here in terms of x1, x2, we will write the definition of a line. Okay. Therefore, let me write the definition of line. Definition of line in Rn, the line through in Rn, the line through two distinct points, line through two distinct points. The symbol we are using for the vectors is of this type, x1 and x2 is defined to be the set of points is defined to be the set of points. Let me write it as x, and the set x is collection of all vectors x such that x is equal to lambda x2 plus 1 minus lambda x1, where for all real lambda. For all real lambda. Therefore, if you look at these two equations we have written, here we have found it as lambda b bar plus 1 minus lambda a bar. Here we have written in terms of the coordinates of the vector lambda x2 plus 1 minus lambda x1. No doubt one can write in a reverse manner also. That is lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda x2. The only change will be the end points will be changed accordingly. Okay. So this is the equation of line in an Rn space given by lambda x2 plus 1 minus lambda x1. Any doubt about this line? If not, we will write the definition of a line segment. I will call it as 2. The definition is about line segment. Now, writing line segment from the line is not a difficult job. What we have to do? We have to restrict the value of lambda simply. Because here we have denoted it for all real lambda, because we want to find out all the points on this line. No? We want to find out all the points on this line. But whenever I am restricting this to be a line segment, it will be essential or sufficient for us to restrict the value between 0 and 1. Therefore, the same definition carries only with the restricted value of lambda. Therefore, again I will write in Rn, the line segment joining two points x1, x2 is defined to be the set of points is defined to be the set of points. What kind of set it is? Again, the set is called as x, where the point x is given as x is equal to lambda x2 plus 1 minus lambda x1. Okay, for 0 less than or equals to lambda less than or equals to 1. 0 less than or equals to. Okay, therefore the difference between the two definitions is only for the values of lambda. For equation of line, it should be for all real lambdas, and for equation of line segment, this is the lambda value lambda lies between 0 to 1. One can check again for lambda is equals to 0, which vector we are getting. For lambda is equals to 0, this is giving us one endpoint x1. And if I put lambda is equals to 1, this will be 0, and it is giving us the value x2. Therefore, this is giving us the equation of a line segment between the 2 points x1 and x2. Correct? The third definition is hyperplane. The third definition is hyperplane. We are familiar with only plane. Na? What is plane? Plane is a geometric object in a 3D space. Correct? Na? What is the equation of a plane in R3? Can anyone tell me? Equation of plane in a three-dimensional space. I hope I am clearly audible. Hello students.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you so quiet then? Equation of plane I am asking. Is it ax plus by is equal to c? Ax plus by plus cz is equal to d. Correct. Now here the concept of plane was hyperplane was somewhat different from plane. The hyperplane is actually a geometric sketch we are defining in every dimension spaces where this geometric object whichever will be formed is of dimension 1 is of dimension less than 1 that of the dimension of the space. That is, if I consider this to be in two dimension spaces, this is in R2 plane, then the hyperplane will be a concept less than by one dimension. That is a geometric object of one dimension. What is the geometric object of one dimension in R2 plane? This is the line. What about in R3? In R3, it's a plane. Okay.
Yes.
Therefore, this was a concept. Actually, a plane is generalized to be hyperplane because whenever we say plane, it's a plane only, na? But here hyperplane is being generalized. Let me write the definition. As the equation c1x1 plus c2x2 is equal to z represents a line in R2. A line in R2 for constant z. Okay, for prescribed values of z. For prescribed values of z, that is for z is equal to 0, z is equals to 1 and etc. Okay, for prescribed values of z, c1, c2, comma, c1x1, what for this, what for one more generalization, c1x1, c2x2 plus c3x3 is equal to z represents the equation of plane in R3 in similar fashion. If we extend it to higher dimension in similar fashion, we can say that here also or prescribed the values of z. For prescribed value of z, c1, c2 and c3. In similar fashion, we can say that the set of points satisfying now we will generalize this to n dimension spaces. Let me write c1x1 plus c2x2 plus c3x3 continue up to cnxn is equals to 0. Here we will restrict the condition not all ci is equals to 0, because if all ci is giving us 0 value, this there will not be of any use. Or in a vector form, we can write it as cx is equals to z. Okay, this is vector form. Or we can write it as C transpose into x is equals to z. What form it is? Matrix form, na? This is matrix form where C is equals to C1, C2 up to C3. and x is x1, x2 up to small x's. X1, x2 up to xn. Okay, therefore what we have done simply, this equation c1x1 plus c2x2 represents line, c1x1 plus c2x2 plus c3x3 represents a plane. Therefore if we generalize this to an n-dimensional spaces, c1x1 plus c2x2 plus c3x2 up to cnxn is equals to z, will going to represent one kind of plane, and this is called as hyperplane. Therefore this defines a hyperplane. This defines a hyperplane for prescribed values. For prescribed values of z, c1, c2 dot up to c. Okay, therefore what is hyperplane? If we want to understand in a simple manner, this is a plane generalized to n-dimensional space. This is going to appear like a plane in the higher dimensions. Okay, therefore this line is also considered as hyperplane in three-dimensional spaces. Ordinary plane is also hyperplane in three-dimensional spaces, and if we just continue to higher dimensional spaces, we are going to call those geometric objects as the hyperplane. Therefore, the equation we are going to write it in the vector form is Cx is equal to z. Cx is equals to z. Is everyone getting me? If I write different values of z, suppose in R2 itself, if we put different values of z, what will be the effect on the lines? Suppose I am writing a line x plus y is equal to 1 initially, or x plus y is equal to 0. What kind of line it is? If x plus y is equals to 0 is the first line I am considering, then I am just changing the right hand sides. Then what about x plus y is equals to 0? Can anyone answer? X plus y is equals to 0. Where should I plot it? For x plus 1, y is minus 1. For x minus 1, y is plus 1. Therefore, what kind of line it is? A straight line passing through this. If I write x plus y is equal to 1, for x equal to 0, y is 1. For x equals to 0, y is 1. What for x equal to 1? What for x equal to 1? Y is 0. Therefore, this is the line. Therefore, if you just change the right hand sides 1, 2, 3, the line is going to shift like this. Okay. Therefore, these are going to be the hyperplanes for different values of z one can see. Okay, same can be done for the plane or as well, C1, X1 for the different values of z. Okay, now whenever we are going to change the values of z, whenever we were changing the values of z, then the plane or the hyperplane obtained for the optimum value of z is called as an optimal hyperplane. Is called as an optimal hyperplane. I think this is number 4, hyperplane, and then it is optimal hyperplane. Optimal hyperplane. Therefore, the definition is for optimum value of z, the hyperplane Cx equal to z is called optimal hyperplane. optimal hyperplane. Okay. Now the next definition is half spaces. Half spaces. Okay, what is half spaces? Actually, due to this hyperplanes in an n-dimensional spaces, the whole n-dimensional space is being divided into three mutually exclusive parts. Okay, suppose for example, in an R3 space, if I draw a sphere, okay, therefore there are three parts of the space we can consider. What are the three parts we can consider? First part is all the points on the boundary of this figure. All second part we can consider as all the points inside the sphere, and the third part we can consider is all the points outside this figure. Similarly, whenever we will take a hyperplane or a plane in an R3 space also, the space is being divided into three parts. First part is points on the plane, okay, and second part is above the plane, inside the plane and outside the plane. Okay, let me show you like this. This is a plane in R3, okay. First part is points on the boundary. Second point is points inside the plane, and third is points outside the plane. Third is points outside the plane. Okay, and these are called as the spaces, or rather half spaces. And then we will study what is open half spaces and closed half spaces. Let me write a hyperplane. A hyperplane Cx equals to z in Rn divides whole Rn into three mutually exclusive parts. Mutually exclusive parts or sets. These are what is the first part? The first part and the consideration, let me call it as say capital X1, and this is a collection of all points x such that Cx is equals to z. Cx is equals to z means these are the boundary parts. Next part is x2. Again, this is the collection of all points x such that Cx is less than z. Okay, means this is the points, inner points, right, inside. Okay, and whenever we are writing the third set as x3 is equal to collection of all x such that Cx is greater than z, therefore these are the points on the outside part. Okay, therefore these are the half spaces. Now we will study what is open half spaces. Number 6, open half spaces. Now whenever we are writing a half space, excluding its boundary, it is called as open half space. Whenever we are writing the half spaces, including its boundary, this is called as closed half spaces. Very similar to the concept of our open interval. Whenever we are excluding the endpoints, it is called as an open interval. Whenever we are including the endpoints of the interval, these are called as closed interval. Therefore, let me write what is open half spaces. The open half spaces are the sets x1. Now what is the symbol I have used? X2, x3. Let me write x4. The sets x4 collection of all x such that Cx is less than z Let me write this as next as x5, or I can write the other symbols sets A, B also. It's a part of notation. Cx is greater than z. Cx is greater than z are called open half spaces. Okay. Now here we can clearly understand that there is no point which satisfies Cx equal to z. Here it is Cx less than z. Here it is Cx greater than z. Therefore, no point is there in the half spaces which is giving us the value Cx equal to z. Means no boundaries are included. Next, we will write closed half spaces. Next, we will write closed half spaces. Therefore, the sets one can write x6 collection of all x such that Cx is less than or equals to z. X7 collection of all x such that Cx is greater equal by z are called closed half spaces. Are called closed half spaces. Why these are closed? Because here these spaces includes the boundaries also. Therefore, these are called as closed half spaces. Any doubt up to this?
No, ma'am.
Good. Now we will move towards a next definition of supporting hyperplane. All the definitions should be clear to all because the next concept depends on these definitions. Next is supporting hyperplane. Next part is supporting hyperplane. Actually, the supporting hyperplane is a plane or is a hyperplane which lie in one of the closed half spaces. Which lies on one of the closed half spaces. And it has to be satisfied or it has at least one boundary of the given convex set. It has one boundary of the given convex set. Okay, so these are the supporting hyperplanes we are for the convex sets of the given type. Let me write the definition. Given a boundary point, I think this involves convex set. Na? Therefore, let me write this definition afterwards. First, we will take a definition of convex set. 8, I will take a definition of convex set. Now, convex set definition is very easy. We have used the definition once in real analysis 1, multivariable differential calculus. Therefore, convex set is a set, or a given set is called as a convex set if a line segment joining any 2 points of the given set lies in the same set. Let me repeat. A set is called as a convex set if the line segment joining any 2 points of the given set lies in the same set. Then it is called as a convex set. Let me write a definition. A set C in n-dimensional space is said to be convex if for any 2 points x1 x2 in C. What is the line segment joining these two equations we have already studied just now? Line segment joining C. The line segment the symbol we are using for the line segment is of this type. Square brackets x1 colon x2 which is defined to be the collection of set X such that X is equals to lambda x2 plus 1 minus lambda x1. 1 minus lambda x1 for 0 less than or equals to lambda less than or equals to 1. The line segment joining these points is also in the set C. Is also in the set C. Okay. So what we have to do to check whether the given set C is a convex set or not, we will take any 2 points of the given set, we will join the 2 points by the line segment, and we will check whether the line segment is in the same set or not. If it is there, it is a convex set. If it is not, then it is not a convex set. It is not a convex set. Symbolically, one can write a subset C of Rn is convex if and only for x1, x2 belongs to C, or x1, x2 belongs to C, a line segment joining x1 to x2. This is in the square brackets with a colon separated by the colon. This must be contained in C. Okay, or here one can write lambda x2 plus 1 minus lambda x1 is contained in C. Now a question arises, what will happen if we have only 1 point in the set C? Because according to the definition, for 2 points the line segment should be in the same set. But what will happen if we have only 1 point in the set C? Then by convention we will call it as a convex set. Therefore, a set with single point is always convex set by convention. Therefore, here I will write a set C, a remark I can put. A set C with single point is convex by convention. Okay, let me draw some sketches to understand the definition very clearly. As we will see this in R2 plane, let me draw the sketches. First, I will consider a square. In an R2 plane. Now you have to answer me whether this set is a convex set or not. What is our job? Take any 2 points in the set and draw a line segment joining the 2 points, and you have to check whether the line segment is in the same square or not. If it is so, the set is convex. If it is not a convex set. This is the sketch under the consideration. Therefore, if I consider any 2 points, or let me consider this square like this. Okay, this is the region under the consideration. Now we want to check whether the set is convex or not. Therefore, if I take any 2 points in the square and if I join these 2 points, the line segment will lie in the same square. Therefore, will it be a convex set?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is a convex set. What about a circle disc rather? This is also a convex set. If you take any 2 points, this will give us a line segment in the same set. What about a parallelogram? Plane like parallelogram, you can see. This is also a convex set. Therefore, all these are the examples of convex sets. All these are the examples of convex sets in R2 plane. What about in R3 now? if I consider in R3, let me consider the sphere. Whole sphere I am considering. It is not looking like a sphere, you assume. Okay, whole sphere means like this, no? Filled. It's filled with some material. Whether it will be a convex or set.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
If I consider a cylinder, whole cylinder.
Yes,
Whole
ma'am.
cylinder. Yes, it is also a convex. Therefore, these are the examples of convex sets in R3 space. Convex sets in R3. Can anyone tell me any other example in R3 space?
A cube.
A cube. Correct. Whole cube, no doubt. Whole cube is also an example of a convex set in R3. Now we will just try to look at some examples of non-convex sets. No doubt in R2 space I will consider first. Therefore, a sketch somewhat like this. A disk where the inner part is open. Means this much area only. Okay, this is a disk where the inner part is blank. Okay, is it a convex set?
No, ma'am.
No, it is not, because if I consider these 2 points, say, if I join the 2 points by the line segment, then this line segment is not covered in the given region. Therefore, this is an example of not convex set. Or if I consider the figure like this, say, whether this sketch is convex?
No, ma'am.
No, it is not convex. Again, if we consider the 2 points here, and if I draw the line segment, the line is not there in the given region. Therefore, these are the examples of not convex sets. Okay. Now coming to that next definition of supporting hyperplane. It's 8. Now I will write 9. Supporting hyperplane. Okay, let me repeat. Supporting hyperplane is a hyperplane which lies in one of the closed half spaces. Which lies in one of the closed half spaces, and the hyperplane contains at least one boundary of the convex set. It contains at least one boundary of the convex set. Okay, let me write a definition. Given a boundary point W of a convex set, then Cx equal to Z is called supporting hyperplane, at W if CW is equals to Z. CW is equals to Z means what? W satisfies the equation of a hyperplane, means that boundary point W of a convex set lies on the hyperplane, and if all of X lie in one closed half spaces. One closed half spaces produced by the hyperplane. That is, Cu is greater equal by Z, or Cu is less than or equals to Z for all U in X. For all U in X. Let us try to understand this. Whenever we are saying that W is a boundary point of a convex set, okay, let me draw a convex set. Say this like a parallelogram I am drawing. In R2, we are discussing this. Okay, this is a convex set. Now we are finding a supporting hyperplane. Now what we know, supporting a hyperplane in R2 is a line. Now we want to find out at least one boundary of the convex set which lies on the supporting hyperplane. That is, the line should touch at least one boundary of your convex set. Therefore, if I draw a line segment like this, not line segment, it's a line. If I draw a line segment like this, means this will be a hyperplane, and this is going to touch one boundary of your convex set. Similarly, for all u in x, that is for all the points in the convex set lie in one of the closed half spaces. Okay, that is to one side of your line. To one side of line. In that case, in this case, this line W is called as supporting hyperplane for this convex set. Let me share you the screen from Google so that one can understand very easy. Is the screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Check, here it was given a convex set in pink. No doubt in R2 space we were considering. This is a convex set, yes. Okay. Then this dashed line is a supporting hyperplane, which touches the given set in one boundary, which touches the given convex set in one boundary, and the whole convex set lies or it contains in one of the closed half spaces. This you can consider the second example. This is another convex set in pink again. At this boundary point, there can be how many lines we can draw? Infinite line. Many lines we can draw actually. Means it can have more than one supporting hyperplane. If I select this line as a hyperplane, then this convex set lies on the one side of the line. Therefore, this is also supporting hyperplane. If you consider this line, again the whole convex set lies on one side. Therefore, one can say that this is also a supporting hyperplane. Therefore, if I consider a set which is not convex, this is not convex set now, because if we consider the 2 points here, then it is not possible that the line segment joining the 2 points in the same set. Therefore, for a supporting hyperplane containing a given boundary point of the set, yes, may not exist if the set is not convex. Therefore, the concept of supporting hyperplane is mainly true for the convex sets only. Okay, here is a hyperplane definition. According to this definition, hyperplane is a subspace whose dimension is one less than that of the ambient space, that is the given space. If a space is of 3 dimension, hyperplane is a 2-dimensional plane. If the space is 2-dimensional, hyperplanes are 1-dimensional lines. I hope the idea of supporting hyperplane convex set is clear to you all. If you have a difficulty, you can ask me. Okay, so for in today's lecture, we have seen the definition starting with the equation of line. Correct now, how to draw the equation of a line in an ordinary space, then line segment, hyperplane. Therefore, one can consider hyperplane as a generalization of a plane. Optimal hyperplane, half spaces, closed half spaces, open half spaces, convex set, and the last one we have seen is supporting hyperplane. If you have any difficulty up to this, you can ask me. There are few theorems and examples that we will take in the next lecture. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, please. If no doubts, let me stop. We will continue the remaining portion in the next lecture. Thank you for being with me.